is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Hello everyone and welcome to the season finale of Lotus 49 World Cup. We have a championship on our hands, but even with that aside, we're in for a treat today. We know why you're here. You're here because you love watching these old F1 cars get thrown around. They're dangerous, they're fun, they're loud, and they're classics. And that is exactly what you can say about the track today as well. This is the one and only Nürburgring, and we're live here on the Global Sim Racing channel and the iRacing Esports Network to bring you all the action. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman, and alongside me in the booth is Stefan Schlacker. Behind the scenes doing all of the button pushing is our director, Andrzej Yarmin, and he is using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Stefan, this course is a classic, but even for those who do know this track well, there are a few different configurations, so what exactly are these drivers up against today?
Well, also from me, good Nachmittag aus Nürburgring. Sam, we're here today on the longest possible layout. Full Grand Prix Strecke plus the infamous Nordschleife, which, by the way, currently is a construction site on 4 kilometers of its total 25.88 kilometers. 169 turns make this track complete, and it has everything you want and wish for, and I mean everything. A total elevation change of nearly 300 meters per lap. Many of its corners have a chapter in history. Hatzenbach, Karussell, Pflanzgarten, Stefan Belloves or Lauderlinks, just to name a few. Featuring all of that, the only thing it is missing is the corkscrew, and that is also the reason why pretty much every car constructor comes here to the Nürburgring to test their cars and try to set new records, because who doesn't love records? So why not have you guys go on board with our Lotus 49 to give you a feel of what today's drivers have to face. Here it comes, the GSRC Lap Guide.
Alright, we've got Stefan Schlacker in the GSRC Lotus 49, so let's do a lap around the Nürburgring. Down into the Haughoek, you've got a great opportunity to overtake, but this corner has its perils. There's a kink in the braking zone, and it's very sharp, so it's easy to tangle with your opponents. But we're going to jump ahead to some critical parts of the track because we don't have time to watch a full lap. The NGK chicane is pretty swift, but it also leads you right into the left-hander that takes us onto the Nordschleife. You've got to get set up quickly and watch out for how the crest in this bend can make you understeer into the Armco. Then immediately the track plunges into the north curve, which is sometimes hard to get the car slowed up for. A little farther ahead, we're approaching flute plots, which in a modern car this little kink means nothing. Needs a lift in the Lotus. At the crest itself, you don't want to be fully on the power or else the nose of the car will lift. Quickly, you've got to chuck it into this double right-hander. Not too long after that, you've got the Swedish cross where the little hump will give you a tiny bit of air. Then you've got to slow the car up and get it to turn in over this blind crest. And as if that wasn't scary enough with the limited runoff, you're now braking even harder for Ehrenberg. This is one of those turns where it's tempting to try and pass, but in reality, it's very difficult to execute. Later on, you'll come up to the Spiegel curve, which kind of tosses the car around with a quick change in camber. But an unsettled car is not your friend, because this is miss, hit, miss. 3 apexes, no runoff, and a lot of opportunity to end your race. Then, as we continue downhill, Defense Valley has an incredibly tricky braking zone with the elevation dropping as the track jinks to the right. Lose it under braking and expect a ruined car. Of course, one of the more famous corners is the Lauda Kink, where Nicky had his nearly deadly accident. That actually takes you to the approach of one of the most important turns on the track, Bergwerks. This uphill right-hander needs a smooth, confident exit so that you can carry your speed well up the steep run through Kesselchen. At the top of that climb is the iconic carousel. Tuck the car down into the banking and be sure not to carry too much speed into it or else you'll just pop right out into the flat and potentially even into the wall. Another of the multiple places you can catch air around here is the entry to Pflanzgarten, and while the compression afterwards helps the car grip on its way through this double apexer, the track is going to swing back left again and then have another big drop where your wheels can often leave the ground. Closer to the end of this lap, you've got the mini carousel, which is actually a faster, shorter version of its cousin. You do have to be careful not to swap ends coming out of there because you'll be tempted to smash the power down. After that is Gallows Hill. It's an almost never-ending right-hander that climbs and then falls and eventually dumps you onto the Dottinger Hoa. Try your best not to be slow off there, or else you'll pay for it all the way down the straight, where you'll get close to 200 miles per hour. Antonius Beach certainly won't be flat out, and then you get one tiny squirt of the gas before you're having to slow the car while navigating through Tiergarten. It's a balancing act of how hard you dare stomp the brakes while weaving left and right until you reach Hohenrad. Once again, avoid wheel spin because you're now back onto the pit straight of the GP circuit. This is less than a third of the full lap, and there's so many more dangers to worry about. But hopefully you've survived them all and have now finished a lap around the Nürburgring.
I think even in that abbreviated lap guide, you're getting an idea of just how tricky this track is. And we didn't even show you all of the twists and turns out there. These drivers are all going to have to navigate it today if they want to come out on top of our championship, because we have not one but two championships, which are definitely still hotly contested. Let's take a look first of all at the Premier Drivers' Championship. That's the F1 Drivers' Championship, where just 2 points separate our drivers at the top of the standings. There you see Ove Trandre has 2 points over Michel Dudagnon. However, you see how the drop weeks are coming into play here, that Dudagnon doesn't have any really getting taken away from him, so whatever he gets here today, will count towards his score. Ove Trandre, this race will be a drop week for him if he finishes 7th or back. But ultimately, and especially if we're seeing the two drivers run up front, which we anticipate we will see, it is pretty much going to come down to whichever of those two finish in front will walk away with the crown. Again, though, like I just mentioned, this is not the only championship we have. We also have the F2 driver standings. Not as close, but still pretty close here. There you see Brunin only has 7 markers over Rossi. And there you see the top 5 in the points there. I mean, Brunin has the most amount of drop points, and that's just 1. So definitely every point is going to matter for those drivers racing over in F2. There's also a third championship going on, what they call the Constructors' Cup. It's more of a Nations Cup there. And there you see that Mick Claridge as well as Price have performed well for the United Kingdom this season. And it looks like the UK should easily take that crown above Norway and France. All right, we've only got 1 minute of practice left, and then we're not having qualifying, Stefan, because qualifying was done in a separate session. This is the top of 2 splits. Let's take a look at our race details.
Well, our race details are quite simple. As already said, this is the last round of this season, the official iRacing Lotus 49 season. That is race distance 5 laps. We're expecting somewhere around 45 minutes for them to complete said 5 laps. Setups open. You have to tinker away, otherwise you will find yourself in one of the many barriers here around the Nordschleife. Scoring, as you can see, first scores 40. The last, that's P20, scores 1 point, but I think we do not have enough people for that, so we only have 17, so last will score 4 points today.
And you see the clock here in the top left corner of your screen, counting down the seconds till we go gridding. And as we mentioned, qualifying was already completed in a separate session, so let's go ahead and read out our starting order. And quite appropriately, it is our championship contenders in the F1 category, starting on the front row with Michel Dudagnon out-qualifying Ove Trandre quite significantly, it must be said. Behind them, starting 3rd place is Mick Claridge, AJ Baird, he's outside. Nicola Cocchi will start 5th, Tommy Unhola back there in 6th. Rob Oljanek will start in 7th, and rounding out row 4 is Bruce Nelson, Jamie Hall and Casper de Kort round out the top 10.
Nicolas Schneider starting in 11th, Marco Kika in 12th, Jean-Francois Buscus in 13th, Gary Thiel in 14th, Julian Bell 15th, Marco Arcidian Kono in 16th, and Robert Plumley rounding out your 17 drivers that tackle today's race.
The Drivers getting gridded up here. As you mentioned, just 5 laps of racing, but each lap takes about 8.5 minutes. So these drivers have a lot ahead of them, many tricky turns to navigate, and they're going to have to do them right, because the green hell is not friendly to drivers who get it wrong, especially with cars that dance around as much as these classic F1 cars do. Dudinyon was rolling a bit there before the lights went green. I hope he doesn't get a jump start for that, but the lights are off now and away they go. Dudinyon leads them away. They're going into the Grand Prix course first. Ove Trantere looking down his inside. He knows he doesn't want Dudinyon to run away with this, and in fact, sure enough, Trantere is going to come out on top.
Everything playing out very clean so far, nothing, no touches. As I speak, Casper Record gets kind of touched and spins around, but can continue his Lotus 49 now in the very last.
So Trantere leads, Dudinyon second. We're not going to know for another 8 minutes if he jumped the start or not. AJ Bear third, Cocchi in fourth, and Rob Olyanek has made a pass up to fifth after starting in sixth place. Jamie Hall off to a good start. He's racing side by side with Unhola.
Side by side with Inhola, they still go side by side there. Jamie Hall from the Camel GT today racing 2 classic races. Oh, bit sideways there for Jamie Hall. Can he have the power into the Michael Schumacher S? Yes, he does, and he defends his position.
As they work their way up the hill, they got a couple more chicanes to go, and then they head off into the Nordschleife portion of the circuit. And definitely they're all going to want to break the gap to the drivers behind Stefan, because... Bell puts a couple wheels off. Kika also running a bit wide. But everyone's still getting through okay so far. But you do have to be a bit wary of drivers behind you. If there's a driver behind you, when you come back out on the back straight at the end of a lap, they can definitely use a slipstream and make a pass.
It is indeed quite hairy. Also, we're not allowed to forget the section from Flugplatz to Adam Kreuz, because you also can draft there a little bit, but obviously you have to... Oh, who is that spinning there a little bit? That is Robert Plumley, able to avoid the wall. There you can see him backing off.
Hey, if you're going to make a mistake on the opening lap, do it on the Grand Prix configuration, I would say.
But yeah, Ove Trantere leading Michael Dudinyon here through the first part of the Nordschleife. This is obviously the tricky part here. Very technical in these cars. You have to be perfect on your setup for every single turn. Otherwise, you're going to have some major problems, as Michael Dudinyon is trying to get first away, but has to back off.
So challenge for the lead here. Ove Trantere took it at the start of a race. Dudinyon trying to get it back as they work their way down this long straight you were just talking about. It's a little bit twisty, but you definitely do get a slipstream.
Oh, very wide there for Michael. But yeah, this is...
Cocchi is off from fourth. Hits the wall. Is he going to be able to recover that? He's cutting the lawn down right now, but he's going to lose a lot of positions, but keeps going.
Let's see what happened there for him in the replay. He is going very slow right now, probably parking his car, but as you can see, too much speed, a bit too far to the outside, and off he goes into the wall, parking his car just a few meters.
And right behind him, Marco Arcidides is... I apologize. Arcidicono. He had an accident at the same turn that has put him out of a race. So
Teal, touch Teal. Bruce Nelson with Gary Teal, very hard side-by-side contact. Bruce Nelson spinning out into the wall. They go. Gary Teal able to continue. There you can see bit of netcode at front, and then locking the tower, spinning him to the left into the wall. He is nearly done. He is still continuing, but his car is hurting a little bit.
Our two leaders still running nose to tail. Chandray just ahead of Dudagnon. AJ Bear, by the way, not too far behind these guys. Just keeping an eye on the battle up front. So Marco is out. Nicola is out already, down to 15 cars.
Dudagnon there, a very good pass into Bergwerk, that is, going through Lauda Links. Now these cars are not full throttle through here. Dudagnon really working his car there. That looks like me trying to put up the lap guide. Able to hold his car there in front of Ovitrangray. That could have gone very south, very fast there, but able to continue.
This isn't official. This is an official iRacing Series race. They keep putting their wheels off. You can only do that 17 times before you're disqualified.
Yeah, and they really try to take every single inch of grass there is. So we might see someone get very close to the incident cap today.
I'm still not convinced Dudagnon is out of the woods with regards to that slight movement I saw him do at the start. Even though he's racing aggressively for the lead, you know, the last thing he wants to do is be second behind Chandray and be getting held up. You know, if he has jumped the start, he wants to be making time up right now, so that if he does have to come in and serve some kind of penalty, that he's able to get back out in front of the other cars. Jamie Hall is in the wall. Number 6 car got a bit of damage. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back around.
Let's see what happened there as he goes into the left. It's the artificial turf right there. The track itself is banked to the left, but the artificial turf on the outside of this track, it's banked to the right. So if you touch that, it is quite hard to recover from that in pretty much every single car. And he fell a victim to exactly that.
Already had 3 drivers, actually 4 drivers. Robert Plumley has also had to take a total pit, so 4 drivers running into trouble on just this opening lap. Part of that could be due to the weather. We do have quite a high track temperature here today at Nürburgring.
Yes, indeed, Sam. We're here right now at 106 Fahrenheit on the track, 78 on in the air, and partly cloudy afternoon. The winds are north with 2 miles per hour, so nothing to worry there. Humidity 55%, so also nothing to worry about. But I'll tell you something about the first 3, and we have to talk about the first 3 here, because AJ Bear, he is able to hold on kinda tight to Ovitrangray back right now, being about 2 seconds back on our leading 2.
Alright, so Dudagnon with the lead over Chandray here. Now, what we're going to see Chandray do, there's not really any fuel he's going to need to save by riding there in second place. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a slipstream attempt here, and sure enough, he's just going to whiz on by. He's carrying an extra 5 miles an hour over Dudagnon right now. Chandray going about 200. Dudagnon was doing about 195 there down the back straight. And Chandray looks like he will lead lap number 1, but I want to keep an eye on Dudagnon. Let's find out if he is going to be penalised or not. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get a good race up front here. Sure enough, it looks like...
Oh, he does.
Oh, no, he is coming in.
That hands second to AJ Bear, and Ovitrangray, it's now his race and championship to lose.
Very unfortunate that championship was pretty much decided before the start of a race. However, obviously that's not entirely the case. Chandray could still run into trouble, even though he has a 2-second lead over AJ Bear right now. The Nürburgring is called the Green Hell for a reason.
It is called the Green Hell for a reason. Very narrow woods are right beside the track. Anything can happen, especially in these cars. You have to be focused 100% of the time. Otherwise, you're gonna find yourself in the woods.
So Chandray and Dudonyon have been our top 2 performers this season, running first and second in the championship. A driver running third in the championship is Nicola Cocchi, and unfortunately he is one of a few drivers whose races came to a premature end, and I think we can actually bring him in the booth and have a word with Nicola here. Nicola, unfortunate to be talking to you this early on. What happened out there?
Hey, hi guys. I don't know actually. I think that the previous little contact that I had messed up a bit with my suspension, because on the first left-hander, very fast corner, I have huge understeer that I had never experienced there. So I tried to avoid the wall, but at that speed was absolutely impossible. So my races ended very earlier, unfortunately. But yeah.
We're seeing a lot of sliding around early on here. Is the high track temperature upsetting you guys?
Well, yeah, I felt the track a little bit more sleepy than usual, but you know, with the rain, you always have to be, you know, super careful, and that might play a little bit of you know, consequences, because it might change a little bit, like the reference for braking, for turning, and if you are driving too close to the limit, that's gonna...
I'm sorry! Oh! Drandre! Big slide! He keeps it off a wall! Drandre just almost threw away a championship that was given to him. I apologize, Cocchi.
No problem.
Speaking about wrong reference, Overdrank right with the wrong reference on the Flugplatz. Taking flight way too much there, avoiding the barrier, and off he goes again.
AJ
Wow.
Bear takes the lead, but yeah, Chandray stays in this race. Wow, that was quite something. Do you think you could have saved that, Nicola?
Unfortunately, I'm a little bit like lagged here, because I see some second after what happening. But yeah, I'm pretty confident in the Flugplatz. So yeah, it seems that it's easier than it might looks. But that one, wow, I see that. No, no, maybe I was not would not be able to avoid that. Very nice save by Over there.
Well, Nicola, we know you had, you know, a decent season, some very strong performances this year. Unfortunately, today didn't quite go your way, but we appreciate you coming to talk to us, and we hope to see you back next season.
Yeah, actually, I came here just to say bye to everyone, because I would not be on the 49 championship next season. I will go back to the 79, but I want to only to leave a message for everybody that can hear us. Then I strongly recommend to try a few seasons here with this community, with this car, because it's so welcoming. The community always very happy to help everybody, very fair and noble, almost like racing. So I just want to thank you, everybody, the community, the broadcasting people, everybody that but I'm sure that I will come back, because I have too much fun here to say goodbye forever. It's all a bit like a few seasons off, but I will come back.
And that was Nicola Cocchi, as we mentioned, third in the point centre in this race. Unfortunately, not going to make it to the finish line. So, quite some exciting stuff we've been watching out on track here, Stefan. You've been keeping your eye on one of the drivers in the middle of the field.
Yes, indeed, and it is a battle brewing up there between Tommy Mikael Onhola and Rob Olnichuk. Rob is having tiny bit of problems every now and then, as he goes very wide and crashes in Mutkurve. Up and over on his roof. Yeah, that was a very short battle there between the two, but Claridge is already closing in on Tommy Onhola, and we have to say here, Mick Claridge, he would have started from third on the grid, He missed the gridding phase. He started from pit lane. He is right now in 5th position.
Fourth now with Rob's crash. Because Dudonjon is also currently being scored on our timing system ahead of him, but that's of course Dudonjon crossed the line while he was in the pits. Claridge got by him, so this is Claridge looking at 3rd position on Unhola, which is where he would have started, and these two are only about 10 seconds back of our race leader AJ Bear.
And the interesting thing is, with AJ Bear, he's right now obviously leading, but Ove Trangrate is not really closing in, so maybe Ove backing off a little bit here, trying to play the safe game and just bring it home.
Yeah, I have a feeling Ove had a bit of a wake-up call earlier this lap, but maybe would have encouraged him to play the safe game a little bit more.
And as we have just seen on the TV screens, move Mick Claridge up into 3rd position, past Tommy Unhola there. Perfect overtake.
Alright, so Bear leads this race ahead of Trandrake, Claridge, Unhola, and Schneider is currently running in 5th place. Dudonjon has not returned to the circuit. No, I'm sorry, he has. I was having a bit of misinformation there, but he is very far off the pace after that unscheduled stop.
Yeah, also he is kind of playing the safe game, I think. But yeah, it's hard to really do. What do you want to do in your position? You just pretty much threw the race away in the first moments of this race, even before it started, so you just have to conserve your car, see if maybe your rival makes the mistake that ends his race so you can win a championship. It's just
got a good little scrap going on here for 7th position right now. Marco Kika in the 12th car. He started 12th, and Casper de Court, who started 10th in the number 7 car, and here he goes, making his way up into 7th position. So Casper de Court going the right direction. This is going on about 5 or so seconds back of the next car up the road, Gary Till, who's currently running in 6th place. And at the line, and you see the live interval at the top of your screen, at the line, AJ Bear had 4.4 seconds over Ove Trandrake and 11 seconds over Mick Claridge. So those are definitely intervals we're going to want to keep an eye on.
Ove Trandrake once again with a little mistake there, this time in the Mercedes arena. Bit too deep into the second left-hander, no problem there. Once again he goes off track. Ove...
Yeah, he's got to be careful about that 17 incident point limit if he keeps doing stuff like that.
Yeah, he has probably accumulated already 5 or 6 incident points from what I have seen so far. So Ove really has to be careful not to throw his race away, not because of a crash, but because of the incident limit.
Although it must be said, we are approaching the halfway point. Halfway through this lap, we will actually be halfway. This race is already 17 minutes old. It doesn't seem like that at all.
No, the lap is so long that it just kind of plays around with your mind. Oh yes, we're just 2 laps in, but oh wait, we're already nearly 20 minutes in this race.
Watching battle for 10th position here. This is Jean-Francois Boscas ahead of Julian Bell.
And Julian here is the faster of the 2. Last lap was about 5 seconds faster than Jean-Francois' lap, so Julian Bell should probably make quite fast the overtake here. Oh, that was close there. But yeah, I'm expect probably to see something already here into the chicane. Let's see if I hold right. No, I do not, so we will have to wait probably to Flugplatz or Schwedenkreuz.
Yes. Well, he might try and
Or
send
not.
out the inside here. There you go. And he kind of had to do that because that's really one of the better overtaking opportunities you have for a few miles. A nice opportunistic pass there by Julian Bell. Clean as well.
Oh, with Tranquilate once again. He's now... Flugplatz got him for the second time. He has crashed very hard.
He's going to try and keep on going, but I agree with you. He hit that wall a ton. I'm not sure how... if he's fighting a losing battle here.
Oh, the Tranquilate really wants a bit too much today, as it seems like. As you can see, he just way too fast over Flugplatz. And off he goes into the inside wall, into the outside wall. Both times front end hits, so he might be still good to go. And it does really seem like the way he's driving his car right now into Adenauer-Forst.
Yeah, he's currently running in third. That's Unhola behind him in fourth place, who might want to get on by. Now, of course, even though Trantre looks like he's driving okay, will iRacing tell his team, you know, his crew chief, if you will, hey, this car has too much damage for us to deem it safe to be raced. You've got to come in the pits and get it fixed, even if the driver says it's okay. That's something that happens in real life. It's something that happens on iRacing as well. So... again, we won't know that until they come back around to the pit straight. I wonder if we have access here, Mr. Director, to the points that are awarded for each position. We could bring those up on screen, perhaps. But I would like to know, let's assume the worst for Trantre here. Knowing that Dudagnon is all the way back in 12th place. I mean, this would be a drop race for Trantre if he's not able to do any better than 7th.
Right now, Tranquilate would get, as he is in 3rd place, he would get 30 points right now. Second gives him 35 and first gives him 40, obviously.
Unfortunately, we're not able to bring that up on screen, but what we can tell you, of course, is that, as of right now, Trantre is obviously safe. It looks like he's gotten away okay. It just remains to be seen whether he has to make a mandatory call into the pits.
Yeah, if everything would stay as it is right now, with Tranquilate finishing third and Dudagnon 12th.
Yeah, but... And actually, Stefan, we got an update here. Dudagnon is pulled out of a race. So it wouldn't matter, I don't think, anymore, because Trantre came into this race as a points leader. Dudagnon is out of a race. He's not going to finish ahead of Trantre. I believe even if Trantre stopped his car right now, he would be your champion.
I see what Michel did there. After Schwedenkreuz, the long downhill section that goes left and right, he hit the curb way too much there and hit both the left and right side walls.
And here we go, we got a replay. Well, here we go. This is a moment. We thought it was a jump start, and the jump start definitely contributed to Dudagnon's race going south, but this was a moment that finished it all off, and a mistake from Dudagnon, who came in just 2 points shy of Ove Trantre, is gonna hand the championship to his rival. Now we'll get a replay of exactly what happened here.
Yep, it's coming up right here, the first apex already. He just takes way too much, as you can see. Goes halfway over this curb, spinning him out the right side into the wall, over to the left side and into that wall too. And that is heavy side contact, and that ends your race very quickly.
I mean, this is a top of 2 splits going on, Stefan, and these drivers are very talented. Just shows you, though, how difficult it is when you get the hardest car to handle on iRacing, or the hardest car to drive at the least, on the hardest track to memorize and get right. and one of the least forgiving tracks to mistakes, it is going to be a race of attrition.
Nürburgring Nordschleife is always going to be a race of attrition. There is just no track that is so demanding on your car, your setup, yourself, your everything. It just always is the race of attrition. There is no way that it's always going to be a Sunday stroll for anyone involved.
So as we watch this battle for second, it looks like Trantray is back up to full health, and he's trying to get the slipstream on Mick Claridge here and get second place back, and sure enough he's going to make that move. So that shows you not only is the handling not too bad on Trantray's car, but his top speed doesn't seem to be suffering too much either, although as I say that, he's not really able to pull all the way ahead of Claridge, and in fact Mick Claridge will retain second position. So maybe I'll take that back. Maybe there is some aerodynamic deficiencies on Trantray's machine.
Yes, if you hit the front of the car hard, you're gonna be down on top speed. Not that much, but it's enough to have a big effect on these top speeds compared to another driver. So as you were able to see with Trangrade, you have to make that pass very, very, very late up to Tiergarten, so you're able to defend your position into the next two chicanes.
Battle for sixth place going on right now. Out of a final turn, Casper de Court did not get a good run, and that yielded the position to Gary Teal. And Gary Teal started 14th, so he's had a nice little charge through the field here.
Yes, Casper de Court already did overtake Gary Teal. But with his mistake out of the last turn, he had to yield the position again to Gary Teal. But last lap, Casper was 5 seconds faster than Gary in front of him, so he once again should make quite short notice of this pass. Oh, as we... Ooh. Wow, that was very close there between Casper de Court and Gary Teal. Gary Teal struggling a little bit, as you can see, with his car, trying to take the easy line, brake very early, and Casper de Court just not foreseeing exactly that move.
Keeping an eye on this battle for second as well, as we mentioned just a couple of laps ago, maybe even a lap ago, it seems a while ago how long the Nürburgring is. But the Grand Prix section of the course is definitely easier to make passes than the Nordschleife. So I think Trantray would have liked to have done something with Claridge here, but he hasn't been able to do that. And as they head off into the mountains, Claridge holds on to P2.
Claridge holds on to P2, but now they go into the Eifel, and that is probably where Ove Trangrade is a bit stronger than Mick Claridge, but that remains to be seen.
No change for 6th place yet either. Till still remains ahead of the court. And let's get... Here we go though, coming up to Flugplatz. Definitely one of the more drama-filled sections of the course for today's race. Claridge has it, Trantray getting the toe. Up in the air, bouncing back down on the ground. And they both keep it grounded, keep it on the black stuff this time around.
Flugplatz, just an incredible section of the track. Flugplatz obviously getting the name because of the cars lifting off there, but it used to be much steeper up that hill, and cars were flying much higher and further than they are today.
It must be said, this is all going on about, no, actually they've ate in a couple of seconds to AJ Bear this lap, only 11 seconds back of our race leader. Normally when you tell the race leader, hey, you're in the lead, you got 11 seconds to the car behind and there's only 2 laps to go, no, you'd think AJ Bear would be feeling pretty good, but 11-second lead with 2 laps left to go, that's not exactly comfortable here at the Nordschleife.
No, we still got over 50 kilometers to drive here. So we're actually just short of 60 kilometers to drive still. So that is quite some lap right now. Just to give you perspective, Nürburgring Grand Prix Strecke, it's already quite a long circuit, or one of the longer circuits. But you could, if you take the tarmac off the Nordschleife, you could make 5 new Grand Prix Strecke tracks out of the tarmac that is laid on this Nordschleife.
There was a nice little graphic on Reddit the other day, the Reddit F1 page. It basically took the longest F1 track, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and showed you where the shortest F1 circuit, Monaco, would end on it, and it was coming out of Rivage. So by the time you hit Rivage at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, you've done a lap around Monaco, in case you're ever curious about that. Of course, though, Spa holds nothing to what we're seeing out here today. And right now, Trantere, surely by this point he knows Dudagnon is out of a race. This allows him to race a bit more aggressively with Mick Claridge ahead of him in second position.
I don't know about that more aggressively. I would probably, if I would read, hey, my championship rival is out of the race, I would probably go onto Sunday stroll mode, take it easy into every turn, and just, finish it on a nice, easy drive without any pressure whatsoever.
Is this strange that we've seen AJ Bear lose about 3 seconds this lap to these guys? Because AJ Bear ran the fastest lap of the race last lap around. He ran an 8:28.1. That's very fast. And yet this lap, these two have ate into him. I wonder if that is just a matter of AJ Bear taking it easy, thinking, okay, maybe I've got this swing in the bag, or maybe he just made the mistake that we didn't catch.
Yeah, AJ Bear, he's still very, very, very dominant over this field. I kind of didn't really expect that looking at the qualifying times. For example, Trangerade, his qualifying lap was 2 seconds slower than Dudagnon's, and AJ Bear was another 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds slower than Trangerade. So I'm a bit surprised that AJ Bear is able to stretch his lead right now over Claridge and Trangerade.
The battle for 6, meanwhile, is still on. Gary Thiel remains ahead of Casper de Court, but Casper not letting him get away. They have 10 seconds to next car up the road, who is Nicholas Schneider. Might want to put the camera on Nicholas, because he's had a very quiet race, but it's been a solid performance. He started 11th, he's up to 5th, he's been running there most of the race, and maybe now we should take the camera off before we give him a drinks.
Yeah, Nicholas Schneider, the hard charger of the race so far. One thing we have to shortly mention here is why we do not talk at all about the Formula 2 Championship standings during this race. It is simply they are sadly not in the race with us today, as Ove Trangerade is very slow on track. As he goes going against a probably had...
Oh, McLaren is off! He brushed the wall. I think he might have got away with that one. These are very dainty cars, Stefan, but sometimes if you hit them just at the right angle and with light enough contact, you can get away with it. I think Claridge will be okay with this one.
Yes, Claridge seems to have a straight wheel in his cockpit, so I think he just barely got away with that one. Very interesting there, Ove Trangerade getting a slowdown through the Stefan Bellof as having to serve it through the Schwalbenschwanz corner, and the next turn, Mick Claridge in the small carousel, he goes off and hits the wall, so things are still not settled for the first few guys, as Casper Court is now trying to overtake Gary Thiel down the long straightaway up to Tiergarten. They go now. Gary Thiel with the chance to draft back here. Not taking advantage of it. Through Tiergarten they go now. And he was thinking about coming back there into the first chicane, but it is not really a place where you can go side by side.
You may have seen at the top of the screen, AJ Bear actually went faster than he has before. He ran an 8:27 that time around. Mick Claridge, though, got the better lap with an 8:26. It wonders what it would have been had he not made that mistake. But as the final lap starts, the battle for 6 is where it's at. However, Till not making anything happen down into turn 1.
Yes, it will be interesting now to see if Casper de Kort is able to get away from Gary Thiel, or if Gary Thiel is able to stick with Casper de Kort for the remainder of this lap. Obviously, we also still have the battle for second between Claridge and Rengerid. And AJ Bear is just driving away from everyone else.
He's got an 11-second lead right now, and as we mentioned, he wasn't off a pace last lap at all. He set his best lap of a race. It must have just been Claridge and Chandray were really on it, really running him down. But then they paid the price at the end of the race when they went over that cushion, and Casper de Kort is in the gravel, and that will cost him 6th position to Gary Thiel. However, their race is definitely not over yet. Here's a replay.
Let's see what happened there, going into the hairpin at the bottom of the track, just a bit too late on the brakes, slides all the way out onto the gravel and on the track. He goes again behind his rival Gary Thiel.
And actually, I want to keep an eye on this as they come to the top of a hill here, because we've seen a couple of moves made in these next couple of turns earlier on in the race. However, Thiel holding on for now, and now they take the left and head towards the mountain with Thiel in front of de Kort.
Yes, we have seen already these guys fight it out. The question is here, Casper de Kort, yes, you are on the last lap, but you have still about 20 kilometers to go on this track. Do you really want to force something already and try to drive away, or try to do it up to Tiergarten and take it away from Gary Thiel on the last possible section?
Must be said, ever since Duden Jon's retirement, which left him being ranked in 12th, that's where he'll be scored at the end of this in, all 11 drivers have pretty much been incident-free out there. And as I say that, I said it too soon, and the driver I was worried about jinxing, Nicholas Schneider, running 5th place, having a quiet race, a bit of a technical issue here, but he has had an off and unfortunately has had to take a tow to the pits.
Yes, the bump before the hill up to Schwedenkreuz got him on the left side. It is very, very quite well-known bump in real life. There, a bump that you do not want to hit. And he hit that, taking his car out of control and into the barriers. He goes left and right, and he is done for the day.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate there for Nicholas Schneider, but what it does mean is this battle we've been watching for 6th place for the last few laps is now for 5th position between Casper de Kort and Gary Thiel. Less than half a lap to settle it as Thiel puts a couple wheels off.
And both cars are looking quite racy at this moment of time. Gary Thiel taking it a bit too far in the previous corner, but it's all... You can kind of get away with that pretty much all of the time.
Oh, you can't get away with that though. Thiel locks them up.
Can you? Gary Thiel once again gets away with it.
Bit of chip in the armour though. De Kort definitely seeing that he is getting to Gary Thiel there.
Casper Record, as of right now, looks like the stronger racer here. Gary Thiel fighting a little bit with the pressure from behind. Once again, a little mistake there into Bergwerk. Mistakes start to accumulate on Gary's side.
AJ Bears made it through the carousel. The battle for second is currently going on through the carousel. Claridge still has that over Trantere. Now this will be an interesting battle, the battle for second at the end, because I think Trantere's waiting for the back straight to make a slipstream pass. However, we saw earlier Trantere doesn't really have any top-end speed in that car anymore. He's got damage to the nose, and that could mean they're going wheel to wheel into the final sequence of corners.
Well, the good thing about having a lower top speed is that you can brake that tiny little bit later than your rival, so we will remain to see what Ove Trengerate can do for second, or if he has already settled his mind onto third.
Well, our championship contenders started in first and second positions. That was Michel Dudagnon and Ove Trantere respectively. Dudagnon jumped the start and then ran into troubles later on. Trantere had a miraculous save early on. Unfortunately, he wasn't as fortunate the lap later. Mick Claridge, meanwhile, had issues getting to the starting line, so he wasn't able to start from third. Who was the guy? Oh, as Claridge goes around, and that puts Trantere in the wall. Trantere might have got away with that. He was pretty much riding the top of a wall there.
What is happening right here, right now? The kleine Sprunghügel catching out Mick Claridge on the very last lap. Just too much wheel spin over that crest, goes into the wall, and right after that, trying to avoid Mick Claridge, Ove Trengerate puts himself into the wall. He now also has damage. He is grabbing a tiny little bit as he goes again into the wall.
Trantere is upside down, entering the back straight, and Claridge is as well. They're both skidding on their tops. This is going to gift second position to Anhola. It's not going to affect who wins this race at all. AJ Bear is far away from this. He's probably wondering what the heck's going on back there when he looks down at his relative. Like, where's all my competition? Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's got a turn one. We just explained to you how he got the lead of this race. But now he's not only just going to lead across the line, he's going to dominate. He doesn't know where the rest of the competition is. AJ Bear doesn't care. He wins here at the Nürburgring.
And suddenly we have a three-way fight for third position between Gary Thiel, Marco Kika, who has been able to catch up with Casper Record, and Gary Thiel. This race has suddenly been turned upside down, quite literally.
Yeah, twice as much. So Anhola will get second. Congratulations to him. We definitely don't want to downplay that, but boy, this battle for third is going to be something here at the line with Thiel in front. De Kort and Kika running side by side.
Casper Record getting fourth here right now. Will he try to go for third? That was very close there between Gary Thiel and Casper Record. Casper Record trying to get there up to third in the braking zone. Let's see, can he do something out of the acceleration zone? No, he will not be able to get third place away from Gary Thiel. Fourth to Casper Record and Marco Kika into fifth.
Okay, watch the replay here, Stefan. I want to get the points official here, make sure we haven't made a mistake on this.
Well, we are first on board with Ove Trengerate here. We are right now in Schwabenschwanz. So we still have a few corners here to go up to through the kleine carousel. He goes now on the replay. It will happen at the next turn here. He takes too much outside curb, understeers into the wall, turns upside down, and then we have to quickly switch to Mick Claridge, who then also goes upside down, skidding past Ove Trengerate, giving him a high five while skipping past, and both are on the roof, or on their head rather.
I'm trying to do the math here though, Stefan. has Ove Trantre thrown away the championship with that mistake? Because let's not forget, now this race is not going to count points-wise for Trantre. Because so he doesn't...
Trantre finished this race officially in 9th. So that means he will drop this race, and that means that I think...
that Dudenion will get 10 points for finishing 12th. That'll push him above Trantre. Well, we're gonna calculate this, but I'm not convinced that Trantre is a champion. As things stand, we'll find out for you for sure. We're gonna take a quick break here on the GSRC. Come back with our official declaration. Well, we were double checking our math here, and it seems that that Mick Claridge has officially declared that Ove Trantre is the official 2018 Season 4 Grand Prix Legends champion. Those are the words of Mick Claridge there in the driver chat. So despite Ove Trantre losing a bunch of points on that final lap there, Austins are still carrying him to the championship crown. Let's give you a full race rundown. There was no debate about who won the race today. It was AJ Bear by almost 33 seconds over Tommy Unhola, who was gifted second place after two drivers ended up on upside down coming to the finish line. Gary Teal wins that great battle we saw going on all race long. He comes home in third place ahead of Casper de Court, just 3 tenths behind him in fourth. Marco Kika also less than a second behind the driver in third. He'll have to settle for fifth place. Not too far behind them was Bruce Nelson. Really didn't give him much of a shout out today. He came home in sixth position ahead of Julian Bell, Jean-Francois Boscas, Ove Trandre, and Mick Claridge round out your top 10.
Well, we're already the first car here that didn't finish. Niklas Schneider in 11th. Rob Olnichuk, he finishes in 12th, but he did actually finish this race. Michel Dudignon in 13th. Jamie Hall 14th. Rob Plumley 15th. Nicola Cocchi in 16th. And Marco Arcidiacono in 17th.
All right, well, we've got some drivers here who have came to talk to us. Let's start off with Tommy Unhola here, because he got a nice second place finish at the end there that I'm sure he wasn't quite expecting. Tommy, I guess you weren't really thinking you would finish second there, but you did.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. I think I was P4 for last lap or something, and we're gaining places all race as people were driving the wall or something. I didn't really see many, but yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I was actually reading on forums before that Mikael said he always retired this race, and I was thinking when last lap started that he can make it today, and it would have been nice for him, but I can take second place as it's a really hard place to drive, so it happens.
How difficult was it out there today? We saw the track temperatures were quite high and we saw lots of mistakes throughout the entire race.
It was very difficult actually. I have not been driving 49 for weeks now. I have been really busy and not home mostly. And actually I was yesterday at friend's place and cleaning my body, as some say. I had to throw up like 3 times or something and woke up 3 hours before race or something, and it was really interesting. I was not really trying to drive very fast as fast as I can. I think lots of people do it here as it's so easy to crash. So it was really hard today, and I was just driving around as it's my favorite track, and actually track and car combination. I really enjoyed it, and it was just a pleasure drive. So I'm happy for the result. I was not expecting so high.
What are your plans for next season now that this season's coming to a close on iRacing?
Well, I think I'm going to try 4 Lotus cars and 49 and 79, and maybe try new Formula Renault 3.5. It sounds exciting, and but I'm not sure if I'm going to do whole season. I have not even seen calendar yet. So Lotus cars probably, and some Formula cars have to see. Williams will be nice to drive. I have been so busy. Well, I have missed both races, 49 and Williams, and actually everything I planned to drive. So World Cup took 3 weeks also, and I was driving only 79, so I was really busy. But planning to make a whole season next season.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you back, Tommy, and congrats on a good podium finish today.
Yes, thank you, and see you next season, and thank you for great broadcasts.
All right, that was Tommy Unhola, and Stefan, you have called up with Mick Claridge.
Yes, Mick Claridge with the most memorable passes of them all, skidding past Overtrangerate on his head on the very last lap there. Mick, talk us through your last lap there. A very, very interesting last lap.
I didn't know I passed him on the roof there. Yeah, Oh man, what a race that was! I mean, we can drive, us lot. We can drive normally, most weeks,
Yeah, it was a very, very entertaining and interesting track. Over Trangerate having twice very big problems in Flugplatz. And then Kleiner Sprunghügel first catching you out. Over Trangerate has to avoid you, goes into the barrier, and then you both crash once again. Just very, very interesting. And all of this while Michel Dudillot has a jump start on the grid. And just how insane would you rate this season finale for a championship decider?
It's the most bizarre race I've ever seen, I've ever been in, and yeah, you're right. It was just unbelievable. I didn't even know what happened to Michel because I was talking to him before the race started, and I said, look, I'm getting huge stutters here because of the rift thing and the bug and all the rest of it. So I said I'm going to stay back in the pits anyway and just start from the pit lane and just see how I get on. I wasn't in the championship, as you know, so it didn't really bother me, so I just wanted to have a bit of fun and see if I could get through the field a bit. Then I looked, I had the F3 screen and I looked up the front and I saw AJ, I think was 2. I think the times hadn't adjusted yet. And I just thought, where the hell's Michel on this F3 screen? And that was the first I realised he wasn't even in the lead because he was so fast this week. I mean, I don't know what his final qualifying time was, but it was a good 2 or 3 seconds faster than anyone else, And then, yeah, so then I knew, because I knew Uwe had won the official championship, from this race. And then when I passed him, when he first crashed, I just thought, oh, this is great because at least me and him can fight now, for some positions on the track. And then it all just went really wrong and messy, But I was even going to let him pass on the last lap, just before I really span off and crashed. I was going to let him pass on that part of the track and then try and draft him down the straight and beat him to the finish. But, oh, man, what a mess.
What a mess indeed, and that plan didn't quite work. But yeah, Michel, he had a bit of a role on the starting grid before everyone was going off, so not quite sure what happened there with Michel, obviously. But yeah, what are your plans for next season? Will you continue to drive the Lotus 49?
Yeah, you know what? I'm always toying with picking a new car, at the end of the season, and I really want to get into the Audi GTO, but the only thing that stops me is the gears shifting in that car. I find it so hard, I mean, everyone does, but I really find it frustrating. And I'm not really a huge fan of multi-class, but I really like the GTO as a car. I really enjoy it. But no, I we was talking about this with Michel, and I'll be back here next season. I've won 9 championships in this car. I really want 10. Everyone knows that. I really want number 10, and then I'll drive something else.
Well, hopefully number 10 doesn't wait as long as it is for Rossi in a MotoGP. But yeah, everyone, that is Mick Cledge sliding his way on his head into 10th. And yeah, Samuel, it was very much a very, very exciting race.
Yeah, I got one more thing I want to say to Mick here. I saw you posting it in the chat. We had a bit of confusion with the points at the end. Can you confirm for us Ove Trandre is the champion? I'm seeing 318 points to Dudillot 304.
Oh, I'm not. I was talking about the official championship. I'm not too sure about the GSRC championship. I don't know.
Well, that wasn't math I'm doing. It looks like Trandre coming out on top with those drop points that he had in his pocket. Well, thanks for Mick for clarifying that for us. Hey, if you'd like to find out more about how the points unfolded, if you have access to iRacing.com, they have their forums where they keep all that stuff updated. You can see where your favorite driver ranked at the end of a championship. For now, though, we've got to head on out because we have the batteries not included. Williams F1 Championship coming up here on GSRC in just a few moments. And of course, we have a lot more action coming up, not only on GSRC, but also on the iRacing Esports Network this weekend. So be sure to check both channels out, subscribe to them on YouTube if you haven't already, because we have plenty of great racing coming up this weekend and lots of champions left to be decided. Well, Stefan, it was great being able to cover this last race of the season for you, and it was definitely a memorable one, I'll give it that.
A memorable race. It is a race for the decades, this one, and yeah, just incredible how the championship can be decided like this one, and just great to be part of the season finale of such a great series.
All right, well, we would like to thank all of the competitors for this series, for coming out and putting on a great season for us here on GSRC. And also thanks to the guys at iRacing who allow us to cover this, and they share it with you on the iRacing Esports Network. We love the service they provide. Additional thanks goes out to all of the companies that provide us the software and hardware that we use during our broadcasts. There you can see them all listed on your screen. Also, we'd like to thank Eric Etcombe and June Lalonde who provide us with our music. You can see the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Stefan, Amjad and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it online at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at GSR Channel. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on screen, so be sure to check those out. Mark them down on your calendar and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.